The United States should have the same standards for Israel as we do for everyone else. If any other country in the world had been credibly accused of violating U.S. and international law again and again, of killing tens of thousands of civilians, of blocking food and medicine from reaching a starving population, we would not be moving to deepen and permanently expand our military ties with them. And yet, that is exactly what Section 224 of this bill proposes. Since October of 2023, the Gaza Health Ministry has counted more than 70,000 Palestinians killed in Gaza, a number that the Israeli military itself has now reportedly accepted. Another 1,079 Palestinians, at least 235 of them children, have been killed in the West Bank. Settler violence has reached unprecedented levels, and the Israeli Security Cabinet has approved 34 settlements in the West Bank, another violation of international law. But even against that backdrop, Section 224 would institutionalize and expand U.S. military integration beyond anything in the history of the relationship, fusing our defense industries across research, production, and emerging technologies. And for my colleagues who say that this vote is actually not about the actual provision, it is. Emerging technology is not an abstraction. It means cyber. And that is one field where we have already had to act against an Israeli firm for turning its tools on us. In 2021, the Commerce Department blacklisted NSO Group, the maker of Pegasus spyware, for malicious cyber activity against U.S. interests after its software was used to target government officials and journalists. 2 administrations from both parties left it on that list. And that same company is right now trying to buy its way into the American market. Fusing our defense and technology sectors together permanently with no conditions in the exact area where we have already been burned is reckless on its own terms. And it would do it through a must-pass bill with almost no oversight and with none of the human rights conditions that govern the rest of our security assistance. We already have laws on the books that tell us what to do in this situation. The Leahy Law prohibits assistance to foreign militaries that have committed gross violations of human rights. The Foreign Assistance Act prohibits arms transfers to countries that are restricting U.S. humanitarian aid, and Israel has been consistently blocking and restricting humanitarian assistance. These laws exist, and they're not being followed or enforced. And instead of demanding enforcement, this committee is proposing we reward that conduct. This committee should enforce the laws we've already passed and condition offensive weapons as those laws require, not permanently entrench our militaries together with no strings attached. A clear majority of Americans, 60%, already oppose sending more military aid to Israel. They will not support this, and neither should we. I urge my colleagues to support this amendment to strike Section 224.
So Netanyahu goes on TV saying Israel needs to wean itself off American military aid and that they don't really need our money anymore. And while he's doing that little tough guy routine, Congress is jamming through a plan that basically bolts the U.S. military-industrial complex onto Israel's forever. It's buried in the new Pentagon budget bill as Section 224, the United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. That's DC speak for we're going to share weapons research, co-produce weapons, cut licensing deals, and fuse our military networks and data together. And it's not just missiles. AI, drones, cyber, biotech, quantum, every frontier war toy on the menu. And with network integration and data fusion, American military data might as well become Israeli military data. Now remember, this is on top of the $3.8 billion a year we already send them, after over $200 billion in U.S. military aid since 1948. And this is all while a majority of Americans now say they don't want more aid going to Israel and they're sick of the Gaza slaughter. So here's the reality. Our so-called representatives see those poll numbers, see the bodies in Gaza, and their response is not, maybe we should stop. Their response is to hide a clause in a must-pass bill that makes it even harder to ever pull the plug on Israel's war machine. That's called being owned. Some might even say cucked, or even sodomized. Now, I wouldn't go that far. But that's Congress taking your tax money, your military, your data, and wiring it into a foreign government that most of you don't even support anymore. If that disgusts you, good. Call your rep and ask them on the record, do you support Section 224? And if so, why are you more loyal to the Israeli defense industry than to your own voters? Bitch.
Americans, I don't care what your opinion is about Israel. You need to know what's in this bill, okay? You need to look at this section. Section 224 is terrifying.
Here it is in the actual document, and it is written to confuse you and majority of other people, so if you actually do go and read it, try your best to understand what they're actually saying. But let me put it into normal English for you. In the broad spectrum of what this document says, it basically removes the need for any authorization to have to go through Congress to give Israel money. They would essentially be merging the securities of the U.S. military with the IDF, the Israeli military, so that they no longer need to get the acceptance for like $20 billion in ammunitions. They can just take what they need and do what they want with our military in our tax dollars. This sets the foreground for so many things to start happening because it merges our security. And right now, Palantir, a private company, is putting cameras and microphones all over the U.S. to monitor and surveil all Americans on a level we've never seen, right at the same time as they're deeming certain aspects of people's opinions as domestic terrorism, such as criticizing Israel, criticizing big tech, criticizing ICE. All of these things are now written in law to be defined as domestic terrorism. At the same time, we're merging securities with Israel. That means that Israeli officials will have access to the data coming from Palantir that is going to the federal government. So not only are we starting to be mass surveilled, but also mass surveilled by Israel, even on your social media. By merging these sections of the military, it lays the foreground for in 2030, which is in Project 2025, by the way, to fully integrate the IDF into the American military so that there is no way to differentiate between the two. I'm not saying American military doesn't do heinous things, but at least it's our military where our tax dollars go. Our tax dollars don't only give Israelis free education. Our tax dollars don't only give them free health care. Our tax dollars don't even give us free education or health care. That's all going way up, way more expensive. The Israelis get more from our tax dollars than we do, and now they're about to get our security and access to our military like they've never had.
All the darkness is finally coming to light. So you know that language in the bill they tried to sneak in where they were merging the U.S. military and the Israeli military? Can you guess who gave the language to the United States to do that, Bill? Can you guys guess? Thanks to House Democrat Ro Khanna for saying the quiet part out loud. He says this, "Let me be clear, Netanyahu is the one that actually told members of Congress to add Section 224, merging the U.S. and Israeli militaries into the bill. This is why there is no left, there is no right. We all need to be speaking truth right now." Thank you, Ro Khanna.
The American people are tired of the arrogance and insolence of Prime Minister Netanyahu telling America what we should do. The entire country of Israel has a GDP that is less than a single town in my district. Yet somehow Netanyahu thinks he could tell the American people what we should do. The person who's most upset with him right now is President Donald Trump. And everyone in America, whether you're a Republican, an independent, or a Democrat, says that we need to tell Netanyahu that America calls the shots, not the Prime Minister of any other country. They want less cooperation and blank checks to Israel, not more. Only the United States Congress would dream up at this moment, let's actually do more for Israel, not less. And that's what Section 2024 does. It's a pretty simple thing. Should we do more for Israel than we already do, or should we do less? If you think we should do more for Israel, you should be against my amendment. If you think we should do less for Israel at the time that he's arrogantly telling Donald Trump what to do, then you should be for my amendment. Now, let me just be clear. Mr. Netanyahu actually wrote to a member of Congress to put this Section 224 into the bill.
And there it is.
Guys, I wasn't going to make another video today, but this is extremely urgent. I need you to pass this on to everybody, all the high content creators that have all the mass followings. The Epstein files in this war is just a distraction. What I just learned about Peter Thiel and Alex Karp with Palantir, essentially they're using all this shit as a distraction right now. And the detention centers that are being installed with the incinerators and all that stuff for humans, it's all designed for us, people like me, people like you, all the dissenters, all the people that can see the shit that's going on. Palantir is 100% that's using all the cameras, the flat cameras, all the fucking, our cell phones, your TVs, everything. And now it's being even admitted through whistleblowers and through themselves that they are 100% gathering information on every single one of us. What do you think the AI databases are for? These what we're seeing right now are all distractions, and we're all putting our attention to it. Okay, and that's what they want. We're giving them exactly what they want. In all reality, they're about to box us all in with this technology. We're 100% occupied by a terrorist entity, which is Israel, in our own government. They're all complicit in this. Guys, this isn't even fucking funny. The war in Iran and the pedophiles is just, it literally not even the tip of the iceberg. Okay, we have no other choice at this point. I'm gonna tell you that right now. We have no other choice but to take arms. We have no other choice. These people plan on killing us all. Everybody that's not in compliance, they plan on killing us all, rounding us up, put us in these concentration camps, and killing us all. This isn't conspiracy. This is 100% what the fuck they're about to do. And they're using all of this fucking, all these distractions and all the fucking theatrics as way to fucking just buy themselves more time. There's a No Kings rally in the Capitol this weekend on Saturday. I don't give a shit what it's called. No Kings, fucking Uno, tic-tac-toe. It shouldn't just be a protest. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Everybody that's on my page, you guys need to share this shit. Get this the fuck out there. Your lives, your family's lives, everything depends on this. This isn't a joke. This isn't, like, I was not even gonna make another video today, but this is urgent. Get this the fuck out there. They plan on boxing us all in and fucking putting us in these camps and killing us all. And everybody that's left is gonna be fucking, they're gonna be the cucks. They're gonna be the people that are just gonna, they're gonna bow down. They're gonna serve these fucking masters. Look into Peter Thiel and fucking Alex Karp. Look at these motherfuckers, dude. They're sick individuals. I don't even think they're human. All right, guys, please get this spread around. This is not a joke. Please get this spread around. As always, fuck, man. Peace and God bless us all.
I need you all to listen to every single word here. This may be the most dangerous piece of legislation to ever be presented in the United States. It essentially will tie the U.S. military directly to the Israeli military. They want to intertwine both militaries in a sense. Please listen carefully and act on this immediately. We must stop this.
Every year, America gives billions of dollars of our money to fund Israel's military. Now, even Republicans, even Benjamin Netanyahu, are talking about changing that. But don't buy it. It's a shell game. What Congress is trying to do now is find different ways of entrenching the relationship so deep in America's own defense industrial base that it's impossible to root it out. A new section of law in the National Defense Authorization Act, or NDAA, would give Israel unprecedented access to American technology and would force the United States military to integrate Israeli defense technologies into our own critical military supply chain, giving Israel incredible leverage over America's own defense priorities. We need to stop this before it starts. Visit anewpolicy.org/advocacy today to find out how you can help.
There's only one reason why they would want to unify Israel's military and our military. It's because our soldiers aren't willing to murder children and babies. Our soldiers aren't willing to kill their fellow Americans in prison camps. Our soldiers aren't willing to butcher their own people. But Israel's soldiers have no problem killing us, no problem putting us in prison camps, no problem murdering children. Yep, that's pretty much it. Looks like we need to start worrying big time. Have the day you wish for immigrants, because unless you're indigenous, you are one.
This is the book of Job, chapter 15, verse 6. And it reads, Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thine own lips testify against thee. Giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in teaching me this 100% truth. Salutations to them and my fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also, salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Ayashar Barzal from the Indianapolis branch of the Great Millstone, coming back at you with another lesson that is edifying to the elect body of the nation of Israel. And, you know, you see who's in uproar. That they, the people who really believed in their government was for them, and not so many of the people who knew that it was against them. You know, as a matter of fact, not any. And you know, hey, you know, the Israelites who are in tune with what's going on in this world have always known that, you know, we've had a number one enemy. And the same enemy that you're begging reparations from has always been your enemy, you know. And this was no better with this section 224, you know. Yes, they're going to come down hard on everybody, but we really know what this is about. Okay, when those two militaries intertwine. That woman, Israeli council, said a few years ago, Judith Varney Shore, said that the number one problem for Israel is the black youth of America. Okay, now you go look at that video in its, you know, entirety. It's letting you know that because they feel that the black youth don't know their story. What the fuck we need to know that story for when it's fabricated? You know, we know the truth about it. We're telling you every day, every week, videos everywhere. All this information is out there, you know. There's no need to know your story. Well, I'll put it like this. Yeah, we need to know exactly who you are, because everything that you do proves that you are not who you say you are. Okay? All right? We know you financed the transatlantic slave trade. We know you own the ships. We know you own the insurance companies. Okay? As a matter of fact, what's his name? Judah P. Benjamin, one of the founders of the KKK, who had slaves. Okay? Yeah, look him up, Judah P. Benjamin. But in any case, with this section to 224, you know, hey, it's going to bring down that great wrath, as, you know, talked about in Revelation 12 and 12, because they know that they have a short time. Let me grab that. Revelation, book of Revelation, 12, verse 12. Okay. It says, Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right, and all the signs are there. All the prophecies have laid themselves out. You know, we just saw the article on China, and they're a chip for the that's going to be comparable or exceeds the Neuralink. Okay, we already know about the RFID, so they're moving real fast because they know they have a short time. All right, Job 15 and 6, and I say them, Edomites, Esau, the so-called white man. Okay, the ones who are in rulership right now, according to Job 9 and 24. All right, this is the book of Job. I think it's 14 and 5. That's it. It says, Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. All right. And that's because the Lord is in control of all different rulerships and kingdoms. Okay, he's in control of that. All right, and we know that every major empire has an average lifespan of 250 years. Yeah, less than 3 weeks. July 4th, 2026. Exactly 250 years from July 4th, 1776. So things are going to really start picking up. All right. He has bounds that he cannot pass. All right. And the Lord is about to go to work because they have broken all. That's actually scripture. He's about to go to work. This is Psalms 119, verse 126. And it reads, "It is time for thee, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, to work, for they have made void thy law." That's right. It's supposed to be a Christian nation, you know. And that word Christian simply means a follower of Christ. It's the Greek, Christos. Okay. And they definitely don't follow. You know, give the illusion. Nah. Nothing Hamashiach like about this nation. You know. Well, and that's because our anointed one, Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, is a so-called black man. You know. But he's from the tribe of Judah. Hebrews 7:14. You know, you get his lineage in the book of Matthew chapter 1. All right. Luke chapter 3. So yeah, he's a brown-skinned man. Okay. Woolly hair, white as snow. Not that wet-haired, smell like a wet dog, Caesar Borgia. You know. Yeah, it's not him. All right. So yeah, he's about to go to work. As a matter of fact, judgment is happening right now. You know, look at all the things that are going on in the world. Judgment is happening right now. But yeah. But anyway, yeah, those people talking about that section 224 of that bill, you know, you can see the division. That's one of the end time things. This is something end time signs. This is the book of Mark. Now I don't want to make this too long. Chapter 3, beginning at verse 23. And this is goes into the red letter, which is the words of Yahushua. It says, "And he called unto them and said unto them in parables, How can Satan cast out Satan?" All right. And we know that, you know, Satan is the adversary, you know, adverse to the law, statutes, and commandments. Pretty much explaining what I just read in Psalms 119, verse 126. All right. Verse 24. "And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand." And those are all Edomites. Talking about that section 224 of that bill versus the ones that they put in power. All right. Verse 25. "And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand." And once again, when you go into the scriptures, a house means a family, you know, a nation of people. You know, like Numbers 1:18, you know, says that you are determined, a nation, pretty much a nation is determined by the house of his father. All right. In this case is Edom, the red one, the wicked one. All right. Who has not only has bounds that he cannot pass in rulership, but bounds that he cannot pass in existence. All right. According to Obadiah 1:18. All right. And it says, "If Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end." Like the open scripture. Bounds that he cannot pass. Revelation 12:12, you know he have but a short time. It's coming to an end. Very rapidly. And we see it. There's nothing they can do about it. All right. It's all about his elect. And like I said, we know those militaries, once they come together, it's going to wreak hell on a lot of the people. They're coming after a lot of Jake, a lot of Jake, because 2/3 of the nation of true Israel, is going to be cut off and die. And the 1/3 is going to be brought through the fire. That's Zechariah chapter 13, verses 8 and 9. All right, let me get that. Book of Zechariah, chapter 13, verses 8 and 9. And it reads, verse 8, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, okay, that's Babylon the Great, America, okay, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the 3rd shall be left therein. Verse 9, and I will bring the 3rd part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried, and they shall call on my name, Yahweh, meaning he exists, which is the name of the Father, Bahashem, meaning in the name, Yahushai, the name of the Son, meaning he saves, he delivers. Okay? It says, they shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai is my power. Okay? So yeah, that military, the MOTB, spirits of vengeance, all of those are going to be things used against the people, concentration camps, as the guy said. And we saw, did a video on that earlier. They got the incinerators right on site. So, yeah. So if you Israelites out there scoffing, this word, hey, oh well, we told you. Not even concerned with the heathens, because they don't have a chance anyway. The Lord's not worried about them. All they good for is going to be servitude in that day, especially Esau, Edom. All right. This is Second Ezra, and I'll close out with this to really put into context what those Edomites were saying in those clips. All right, because we know that time is at hand. Second Ezra chapter 15, beginning at verse 14. Verse 14, and it reads, woe, woe meaning death and destruction, to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up against and fight another, and swords in their hands. Yeah. A lot of weaponry, a lot of stuff going back and forth to bring about death and harm, and that sword basically is a killing instrument of any kind. All right. Even if it's a literal sword. All right. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men. All right, that's sedition, coming up against your government. Revolting, which is what you clearly heard in those videos. All right, and invading one another. All right, you got some guys who are hell-bent on that constitution of yours, said, hey, we know how to dismantle a tank, single-handedly. However, they put that out there. You got to know how to dismantle those robots too. So it says, for there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. That's your rulership. Okay? State reps, congressmen, senators, presidents, they're not, the military, they're not going to regard them. Okay? It says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Yeah. They're going to be loaded up too, But we gotta, figure Esau hasn't shown all of his military might. How it only took 8 men to go over there and take out Venezuela. Roughly. So yeah, this is verse 17. It says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." Like the guy was saying, box us in, lock us down, concentration camps. Okay. Verse 18. "For because of their pride, okay, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid." Yep. Going to be one heck of a time during Jacob's trouble. Okay, as the scriptures say, it is not like any time ever before in history. Okay, that's Daniel chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. All right. Verse 19, it says, "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods." Okay, because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Yeah, food famines. Being locked in, can't get out and grocery shop. Going to see your neighbors with some stuff. Hey, take them out and take their stuff. But in that day, the elect of nation of Israel is going to be all right. The Lord said He's going to take care of His elect. All right, and we believe that. It's Isaiah 65. Let me grab that. I'll end with this. 65 and 13. Go straight to the point. 65, 13. "Therefore, thus saith Yahweh our power, Behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed." Verse 14, "Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit." So yeah, his elect that He's going to pull through that fire, like I read in Zechariah chapter 13, verse 9. We're going to be all right, And I say we humbly because I prayed that I'm of that number. Okay? Okay? So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying to the elect body of the nation of Israel. Once again, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahak HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in teaching me this 100% truth. Salutations to them and my fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also, salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like it to the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, I say Shalom, Kwam Yasharallah, Abba Abba. Shalom, we got next.